Good morning and welcome to Third Eye Cat Gaming. I am currently trying to give you a review of the game known as No Man's Sky. As you can see in the gameplay in the background, that I've been playing it for a little bit on this one. The game happens to be one that I think I kind of like. It seems to be what you would call a survival game, only it happens to be in space, where anything and everything can go wrong. When you're first starting this off, I would suggest trying to use the normal mode. You're less likely to die at every turn, but you still got to be careful. You could run out of oxygen, you could run out of the protection against different chemicals and stuff. Plants will attack you via gas or radiation release or something like tendrils or whatnot. You end up getting a multi-tool which you can use to acquire resources or defend yourself against things. Game is enjoyable in my opinion, but it's a tedious and long-going one. It's not something you pick up for a 20 minute or an hour play. It's you're gonna spend some time playing it. It has several different modes. You have the normal mode, which is what I normally play it in. Then you have the a more advanced mode where you can kind of adjust the difficulties. Then you have the survival mode, which is the extreme survival mode, where it makes things somewhat difficult. In the normal mode, when you die, you don't really have to worry about going back and getting your stuff where you died at. In the survival mode, you have to go back and find where you died at if you want anything that you collected. Your equipment stuff stays the same, but if you had resources you need to build something, you gonna have to go back and find that place. Not only that, it's a space exploration too kind of game where you can explore different worlds and planets with different environments. Some are kind to you and some are much more difficult to deal with. You also end up having to fly a spaceship around, which when you start off you have to fix because something broke your ship and you have no idea why because your memory is lost. So you spend the rest of the game basically surviving and trying to figure out who you are and what happened to you. And you're trying to figure out the secret of that galaxy or universe, which does make it somewhat interesting trying to find your way through the galaxy. And it is very, very large, and there are very, very many planets to end up on. Your suit and look is supposed to be customizable, but when I started playing, I just jumped in and went and didn't really bother customizing it at all. It does sometimes get tedious, especially when you're trying to build something or make something and you've got to run around and collect the materials you need to make it. Or just the fact that you have to constantly keep certain elements on you so you can either repair your shield against the elements, or you may have to replace your oxygen because you're almost out of it, because you're constantly using both in most environments. Because from everything I've seen, both myself playing and others, you're rarely in a very easygoing environment. If nothing else, the atmosphere is attacking you. But you can also build structures, your base and whatnot, which is places where you can go to refuel your things. Your spaceship, which you work on, build up, and you need to refuel it as well. Both of your different kinds of engines that you have, the takeoff and inside the atmosphere ones, and the ones you use out in space, you have to constantly get the materials you need for that. But like I said, you can build a base and you can make it any way you want. You can construct a one level, or you can construct a multi-level one. You end up building equipment or making equipment like refinements, so you can refine materials you collect. There are artifacts and alien stuff you can pick up, different materials and elements that when you get back to a space station, or if you've built a unit there that can help you do trade, you can actually trade that for credits, space credits, which will help you upgrade your ship, and you can buy other ships, bigger fleet ships that can get you around faster. You can hire people to do things for you, aliens to maintain and keep like any bio units you set up to grow plants and stuff. You can have them keep up and grow resources that you might need. And you can attach these portals you can build to those places, so that way you can easily get around if you have a base on a planet that you set up to make your to grow your resources, like your shield replacement resources or your oxygen resources, which can allow you to expand your exploration. But like I said, it can be quite tedious. As you see, I keep popping up the HUD, which is supposed to help you find different things, including where your ship is, which is one thing you really don't want to do, is forget where you parked your ship. It could take a little bit to find it. I end up spending quite a lot of time wandering around lost, because if you don't keep a track where you're at, it could take your entire inventory of resources to replenish your survival part if you're not careful. Although sometimes you can get into different places where you aren't taking damage, like, and as you probably see in the background, I'm in a cave system right now, and while I'm inside the cave system, the well, except for plants that attack you, the actual planet's environment isn't damaging me, but once I get outside of it, then I start taking damage from it again, or at least my shield does. You'll also get units, or credits as I call them, and when you scan plants and animals too. Probably more of an in-depth review than you probably thought you were going to get, but I'll tell you what, I actually enjoyed playing the game. But don't start the game unless you've got a few hours to play, because that's when it drags you in and gets you involved, and you forget what time it is. If you enjoy tedious survival games that the environment changes on each planet you end up on, this is the game for you. If you don't like survival games, or you can't handle a repetitive, tedious game, well, there are quite a lot of other games out there for you. And, well, that's pretty much my review for this game. I enjoyed it, I like it, I've been playing it off and on, and you'll probably find videos up here of me playing it, or at least streaming it. This is Third Eye Cat Gaming, and as always, signing off, and I like tacos.